A few people have asked about the logic behind the editing of my videos, and Ollie from PhilosophyTube has offered to help explain. So, first collab video! Woo! I'm going to talk about some psychological research and technical theories, and then Ollie's going to talk about remix culture and YouTube poops. Another form of intentionally glitched video. Can making something harder mean the committed user gets more out of it? Hi, my name is Emily, and this is Blink Pop Shift. A few months back, Jamin Warren from Game Show made this video talking about whether harder video games are better. He cited a feeling called fiero, which is what we feel when we triumph over adversity. That rush of adrenaline and endorphins and sheer, powerful happiness that makes us throw our hands over our heads and yell. But we only get this powerful feeling of pride and accomplishment when we have worked very hard, tried over and over and beat a hurdle that we thought might just be too great. So harder is better for players willing to commit to the difficulty. We get a better reward when we put in the time and practice it takes to complete the level. But harder isn't better in games just because we get a bigger high from beating them. Harder to use technology may be better for us as well. As Tim Wu argued recently in The New Yorker, harder to use technology acts for our brains and even our culture as a high-pressure biological niche. By the logic of biological atrophy, our unused skills tend to melt away. But this goes beyond just use it or lose it. Can making something harder actually make our brains think better? In Malcolm Gladwell's recent book, David and Goliath, he refers to an experiment in 2007 in which people were asked to solve 3 logic problems. The groups were randomly assigned the test in one of 2 formats. One test was printed in a standard typeface, black ink on white paper, while the other was printed in a light gray italic font. Which group did better? The latter group, reading from the harder to see test, did 29% better, a finding which seems to indicate that making things harder actually improves cognitive performance. Why? Well, let's take one of the questions from the test as an example. Pause the video if you need time to think it over. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? If you've never heard this question before, more than likely your instinct is to answer 10 cents. That's wrong, but it does prove to illustrate why harder can be better. Here's a hint from Nobel Prize winning economist Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow. In his book, he describes 2 very different ways that the brain forms thoughts. First system is fast, firing frequently, and its emotional and stereotypical thoughts happen with little work on the brain's part. System 1 thinks 10 cents is the answer almost instantly. System 1 works very well for lots of kinds of thinking where low cognitive load and speed are the most important factors. But it does tend to get questions like this one wrong. This is where System 2 comes in. System 2 is slow, logical, calculated, as well as a time and work-intensive type of thinking. The applications of this effect will likely fall on the inverted U-shaped curve. Graph of the day. This particular graph illustrates the limits of rising alertness on performance levels. Some improvement is great, but there is a point after which the effects actually begin to decline. But this chart has also held true for things like class size effects on test scores, income levels on happiness, and even the severity of punishments effects on crime. Some difficulty can be beneficial, but you can't take it too far. Too far. Conclusion? Well, it's great for some things to be more convenient. Capturing video of protests and sending them around the world, for example, you can't design everything on easy mode. As tasks become easier to perform, we expect more from ourselves, and more tasks with less effort is the bane of post-digital life, i.e. multitasking. So what is a difficult technology? Something that takes time to master, whose usage is highly occupying, and whose operation includes a real risk of failure. Use and operation. You're controlling that character that's dying over and over. You're writing the code. You're flying that quadcopter around that country wedding. But what about videos? Do videos that are harder to watch and require more of your attention make you better at focusing and learning from them in the long run? Well, the evidence suggests that the extra effort required sharpens the mind, focuses the attention, and when we do complete the task, our brains and bodies are better rewarded for working hard. But there is a downside. People optimize their behavior in online information systems based on how fast the desired information can be acquired. To quote the research, as users, we are selfish, lazy, and ruthless in applying our cost-benefit analyses to online content. And when all is not easy, only those people up for a challenge will stick around. But What do you think? Is there a hard mode for online video? And if so, can you feel the fear of accomplishment when you defeat it? Hard modes come in many shapes and sizes, so head on over to PhilosophyTube where Ollie is going to talk to us about the finer details of remixes on YouTube, if they're art, and introduce you to some of the hardest to watch videos out there. YouTube poop. You can find me at Emily Eifler, and as always, thank you for watching and get curious.
Is the show really over?
I'm here too.
I'm here
too.
Can you tell by the like fancy focus and shit that I'm not doing this by myself? Yeah, that's Malia. This video is Malia's burping while I'm trying to do my lines.
Like a wet squirrel in my throat.
Yeah.